Welcome to Iteration 5 of the CS160 programming tutorial. Iteration 5 will be a very simple extension of Iteration 4. In Iteration 5, we'll extend the Java code to complete the code necessary to read all the input. Specifically, Iteration 5 objectives are the following. We're going to add Java code to the main class to satisfy functional requirement number 5, which reads, the program must prompt for and read 3 monthly payment options as shown below. We have a prompt, what are your minimum, comfortable, and maximum payment amounts, and then we have 3 values representing the minimum, the comfortable, and the maximum payment amount. Secondly, just like with iteration 4, we're going to ensure that the variable names we choose to hold those payment amounts do satisfy technical requirement number 3. Just like the previous iterations that involve input, we're going to add debug code to display the 3 payment options. And finally, we'll run the program and verify that the output produced by the new debug code contains the payment option values input by the user. With respect to our code design, well, to address functional requirement number 5, we'll just note that each payment option is a dollar amount, okay, just like the credit card balance. So we're going to use a double variable to hold each payment option. And we're going to name these variables P1, P2, and P3 to maintain the spirit of technical requirement 3. In the credit card equation, P is used to represent the payment option. Since we have 3 payment options, we're just going to name those P, then 1, 2, and 3. We're going to construct an output statement to produce the prompt, and an input statement to read a double value for each payment option. Of course, since there's 3 payment options, we're going to need 3 input statements. And for the debug code, we'll just have 3 output statements to display each of the 3 payment options. All right, now let's go over to our Java program and add the necessary code. The first thing we'll do is we'll add our declarations for the payment options right underneath those that we added for the previous iteration. So we're going to declare 3 double variables, P1, P2, and P3. And we'll go ahead and add a comment for each to remind ourselves of what they hold, since the names aren't very descriptive. So the first one is going to hold what we'll designate as the minimum payment option. The next one will hold what's designated as the comfortable payment option. And the last one will hold the maximum payment option. Okay, now we'll go down and we'll note that down here we have a comment that says to solicit and read the values for the 3 payment options. Okay, well, clearly that's where we're going to add our code. Again, we're going to add code that generates the prompt, and following that we'll add the code that reads the values and places them into the appropriate variables. Like before, we'll use the print method, and here I'm just going to spare myself a lot of typing, and we'll go out to our assignment document and we'll copy the prompt that we need, And then we'll add the necessary input values. Okay, the first one we'll put into P1. And again, to prevent all that typing, I'm just copying and paste. I should point out here that we know that the input values are all going to be entered on the same line, and they're going to be separated by spaces. So it's good to recall that the way next double works is next double will skip any white space characters and then start reading when it encounters a digit. It'll also stop when it encounters a non-digit. Okay, so just using 3 successive next doubles will ensure we will be reading only the digits associated with the 3 payment amounts. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to add some debug code that simply displays those values that we just read in. I'm going to go up here and copy and paste our last debug statement from iteration 4. Now we go P1, P2, and P3. Okay, now we've completed adding the code, so let's go ahead and test it out. And again, to test our code, we're going to enter values for all the previous inputs, and they can be anything. Because we want to make sure that we haven't broken anything by adding the new code. All right, for this, I'm going to go back to my assignment and copy those values as our first test. Notice that just like with the balance, I can enter some of the values without the decimal point or any decimal digits. All right, that looks correct. 25 for P1, 35.5 for P2, and 45.0 for P3. Again, by default, when Java displays those double values, we'll have at least one decimal digit. And notice the trailing 0 is not going to be displayed. All right, let's try it again with another set of values. Okay, let's this time use decimal digits for everything. And there we go. It outputs exactly what we've input. So at this point, we're pretty confident now that we have the Java code required to read all the inputs corresponding to the functional requirements of the project assignment. Okay, so next time we'll forge ahead with addressing functional requirements for calculations and output.